Hey there. Well, I don't have a tripod with me, so I'm using my outstretched hand to hold this camera. And that's because it's been raining for days, and it's going to be raining for the rest of the week. An hour left before sunset, and it miraculously cleared up, so I just grabbed the camera and came on out here. And so where I am, I'm at the place where two rivers meet, where the Snoqualmie and the Tolt River run into each other. And we're going to take a look at Cottonwood down here, because this is around where I live. Around here, this is the area where we're going to expect to see it the most. And we're also going to see it in the forests around here because it is so damp in this ecosystem. But when you're down here in this along the river here, it's the predominant tree that you're going to see around here. So I'm going to take this in this hand here and show you this forest out here is mostly cottonwood trees with some maples, a cherry tree here or there, but mostly cottonwoods. By rivers is because we can see smaller trees that are growing right by the river, like these here, and take a close look at the buds on a live tree, because cottonwoods can grow pretty tall and the buds get way up the tree. Like if we were over there, we'd need binoculars to see them going all the way up to the top there. Now, however, those trees are great to get buds off of, and how do you do that? Well, if I need any cottonwood buds, often what I do is wait till a windstorm, and after the windstorm, go to places where there's trees, and sure enough, I'm going to walk around and see some downed trees, and I'm going to be able to go and harvest away. And then I'm taking off a tree that's lots of life anyway, which is great when considering wildcrafting ethics and all. So I'm going to come up to this tree right here because we're just going to take a look here. We're not picking any right here today, but we're just going to learn about it. So let's take a look at these. Look at this one off this tree too. Here's a good example. You can see that it's resinous. I'm going to back up a little here with my camera. It's great with the sun out here, it can glisten and show us that. So I'm going to crush this bud with my finger, and it's sticky. I'm going to crush it there and see that resin that's on my finger. It just smells so beautiful. And that's the buds that we want, and you can see the leaf that's developing inside right there. So if I'm out here and there's just no down trees anywhere to be found, I would pick the buds that are a few off each branch that are inside, not the terminal bud. You never want to pick the terminal bud, but you want to pick. You can pick a couple of few that are on each branch. On these ones right here, and I would be real careful about how many I'm picking off of each tree, making sure that I'm wildcrafting sustainably. Here's a little bit larger of a tree where I could get a lot of really nice buds off of too. However, like I said, me personally, I live in a place with such plentiful trees and a land of many windstorms that I have no problem going and collecting what I need after a storm. So we're looking at some more cottonwood buds here, and as you probably have seen on Herb Mentor, there are some different species of cottonwood, and not all of them have the resin. Some call it balsam poplar. The western cottonwood definitely has the resin. And there are other poplars as well that don't have the resin. All of them, willows, poplars, the cottonwoods, they're all in the Salicaceae family, which is a fancy way of saying willow family, okay? And they all have a lot of similar medicinal properties, especially when it comes to pain killing and anti-inflammatory. So making tea with bark and with leaves will have similar properties. With the resin, which is also referred to as Balm of Gilead, which is different than the actual biblical plant they talk about, but the name stuck. No pun intended, because that bud that I touched with my fingers before, still really sticky, and if that ever happens to you, where you just get sticky, really hard-on, sticky, resinous cottonwood, resin on you, then you can actually use a little alcohol and that'll thin that out, or paint thinner or something. So the flowers are catkins. They're unisexual, meaning the female and male catkins are on different plants. And we can look at a leaf here, actually, to get the shape. So you can see there that turned a golden yellow in the fall. You can see the shape. Of course, higher up on older trees they're going to be smaller, and on younger trees like this they're always a little larger. I'm going to drop that there. I've got a speedboat guy behind me here who's making lots of noise. So the fruits are round and green, hairy capsules that split when ripe into 3 parts on this particular species, and the seeds are covered with white fluffy hairs. And I never knew exactly why they called it cottonwood, because I live in a damp area, until I went to eastern Washington where it was dry and saw all that cottonwood fluff all over the place, and it was like snow coming down, and it looked just like cotton, and that's why it's called cottonwood. Should also mention that all members of this family have the alternate branching pattern. So you see a branch coming out right there, a branch coming out there, a branch coming out there, a branch coming out there. You see the pattern. It's not opposite like a maple, an ash, or a dogwood, or an elder tree. So in this area they also can grow up to about 5,000 feet in elevation. They need a constant water supply, and they're able to withstand periodic flooding, because right where I'm standing here is underwater for a good amount of the winter. And you'll find along rivers, moist valleys, edges of natural lakes, canyon bottoms, and widespread in wet areas of the Pacific Northwest. Now we're looking across the river at some really tall trees so you can see how high they can get. Okay. So like this, just take a look at this area around us. It's obviously very cooling. We're at a river, very moist. And that's also the energy of this tree and how the medicine works. It's very cooling and moistening. It moistens and cools the skin, relieves itching, promotes tissue repair, relieves pain, dried skin conditions such as eczema, burns, cuts, bruises, sprains, muscle tension, aches, helps pain from inflammation and congestion. Bees make propolis from the resin and seal their hives with it. And that quality gives the hives an antiseptic quality. So it also brings that to us. It also has antiseptic, antibacterial qualities. Internally, for coughs, you can use it to treat colds. You can make a tincture, though it's very, very strong stuff. It can really help with a deep cough and help a secondary infection from happening. I usually take it when that cough is very, very deep and it's hoarse and something else might set in and I just need to get rid of it. And it's very restoring. Like I said, and moist and cooling. So no matter what the condition, it does that. But externally, it just does so much as a salve or an oil. And you can use the buds in a steam for breathing in, like we show people with that chamomile. Good for coughs, good for the lungs, as well as a tincture when you have a condition like that. So there's one last look, and I say one last look because I'm just about out of videotape. And when you squeeze this bud with your fingers, you'll know that you have it. And remember, it's best to do it in the colder weather, like today, because if it's too warm out, the resin can really get all over the place. So bring a little plastic bag with you and collect your cottonwood buds in. And once again, remember those wildcrafting tips of picking further down the branch. But if you can find a down tree after windstorm,